Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of the Simplify Your Life Summit. I'm your host, Justin Crosscarry, and I am joined today with Miss Contessa Louise. Thank you, Contessa, for being on here. I appreciate it.
Oh, this is definitely my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. So Contessa is a healer, a coach, a mother, and not just a mother, but a mother to an autistic child, or not a child anymore, an adult. And
Always be my child, my
yes,
baby.
always your baby, always your baby. But that was what really drew me to you, is because, a couple years ago, I had a neighbor who, as I told you, was autistic, and he'd always come over and enjoy being with the boys. I live with a couple of my friends and I in La Jolla, and his dad was amazing, but I saw how much it took to really care for not just a child, but a child with autism, where it's like, you're constantly on alert. And a mother's already like that regardless. So I want to hear, what was that like, raising an autistic child and into an adult?
It has definitely been an experience, and I don't care what you read. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how many people you talk to. You are never prepared because your child is completely different than anybody else's child. And it's amazing how unique your child could be.
Mm-hmm.
And back, you're talking about 30 years ago, and showing my age here, of course, but 30 years ago, doesn't seem like a long time, but it really is, as far as the way that we have access to information.
Mm-hmm.
Because the internet was not like it is now. This Zoom did not exist,
It did
right?
not.
And so I remember getting the diagnosis, and we didn't even have early intervention for him as far as autism was concerned. So he got a diagnosis of, back then they called it MR, mental retardation, but right now they call it intellectual disability. But he got that first.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Here was my instructions, and this gets people all the time. My instructions at that time was to go ahead and institutionalize him and have another kid, because I was young enough to replace him. So lock this one away, let someone else take care of him, because it's going to be too much for you, and just go have another one. It's fine. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And that was the advice that I got. That was the information that was given to me as a young mom. And so fast forwarding a little bit, finally getting the autism diagnosis, he was 8 years old. So all that time with the meltdown and the tantrums and only eating foods of certain colors and all these things, the flapping and the spinning, and just, I can go into so many things that I had to deal with without any information on how to manage my son, what to do. If this happened, you should do this. If this happened, you should do that. None of that was there. I had to rely on gut instinct in order to help my kid. And so when I finally got the diagnosis, still wasn't any information available. They handed me a pamphlet. It was front and back that they had tri-folded. Okay. And I remember it was that really strange orange color. And
I
they
know what you're
handed
talking
it
about.
to me, all about autism. And all the information I had fit on that one piece of paper. And that was it. That was all that I had. And now you can Google autism, and there's tons of information out there. But that's not what I had.
Mm-hmm.
I had to figure it out myself. And many nights sitting on the floor of my house crying because I didn't know what to do. I knew my son needed help. I knew I needed help. I have
Yeah.
a daughter too. He has a younger sister. We all needed help as a family unit. And wasn't any resources. There wasn't any money. The therapy he needed, insurance didn't cover it at the time. We were basically left on our own. And since people didn't understand autism, they were like, well, I don't want my kid to catch that.
Mm-hmm.
And so people wouldn't come over the house. I didn't have a lot of friends. There wasn't a lot of social interaction. So I was isolated. I literally felt by myself in what could have felt like a nightmare of a situation. Granted, my situation wasn't as bad as some of the other parents I know. Like my son didn't have a lot of aggressions. He wasn't tearing up the house and things like that. But my pain was still my pain and it was valid. The
Hmm.
images and the thoughts that I had when they told me I was having a little boy, all of that was gone. You know, I was left here with, I don't know what to do.
And that wasn't the only thing, right? So I would love for you to share, like, so people can get that perspective. But what was going on with you personally with your health as well? Because that's like something that, people struggle with just alone. So to add that on.
Yes. And so in dealing with that, I ended up having really terrible, 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 terrible pain, like just all over my body, just couldn't understand what was going on. And I got tested for lupus, I got tested for rheumatoid arthritis, I got tested for everything under the sun. And then they diagnose you with something they diagnose you when they don't know what's wrong with you. And so I ended up having fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. Fibromyalgia, everything hurts all the time,
Mm,
every single day, nonstop. I'm in pain every day. Even now, I'm in pain. So the pain varies to being very little pain to I need to be on bed rest.
hmm.
So needing to be on bed rest when you have a kid with autism is not the easiest thing in the world to do. On top of being in pain, chronic fatigue, you know that pain that you get when you have a really bad flu where
Hmm.
you just can't move and your arms are super heavy and you can't focus on anything. And
Aches and
that
pains. Yep.
that relentless fatigue that does not go away no matter what, that's what I have. I know you can't tell it because I manage it really well, but that fatigue, even when you go to sleep and you wake up tired. So chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, a kid with autism, a neurotypical kid. I'm a single parent.
Mm,
That's what I have dealt with for most of my adult life. And it has not been easy
mm-mm.
at all. I don't suggest it, right?
Yeah.
I don't suggest it at all. Don't pick this. Pick something else.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, bless you for, I mean, just being that woman and taking charge and doing all that, not only having the the sickness, with the fibromyalgia, the chronic fatigue, but also having, as you mentioned, the autistic kid, and then being a single mother. And so I'm curious because I know how stress affects, those kind of autoimmune issues, and then also having a child with autism, that's got to be stressful. Then being a single mother, and somehow you've been able to manage it, because if you were to tell me that you had a 30-year-old son, I would not believe you, based on your look, so you don't look as the age that you projected. So what is it that you are doing to either control this stress or simplify your life? What are some ways that these viewers can take home and use themselves that you found have helped?
The most important thing, and you'll hear people tell you to do the opposite. You'll hear people tell you that your kids are most important. You need to do everything for your kid. You are most important.
Hmm.
You are the one that's managing everything else. So you need to take care of yourself first. I mean, you've heard it 1,000 times, put that oxygen mask on you. So it's very important that you take care of yourself. I have learned to be selfish,
Hmm.
completely selfish in my self-care. One of the things that I do in my day, as busy as my day is, because I am an entrepreneur, on top of all of this, have several different projects going on, right? I schedule me time.
Mm,
And I use Google Calendar, you know, use
yeah.
whatever it is that you have, and it is in my schedule. Also, I don't people until noon. And people laugh at me all the time, right? So my mornings are for me to do whatever I want. And I love that so much. So I don't wake up to an alarm. I don't do any of that. Of course, I can because my kids are grown. But if you do have kids that you have to get up, get up, get your kids ready. Spend time with yourself. If you have to go to work, understand. Even set your alarm for 5 minutes earlier so you can just have 5 minutes for self. That means so much when you're starting your day, to spend that 5 minutes, say, this is just for me. And don't let anything take it away from you at all.
That's so powerful. And I love how you said just 5 minutes. You know, we hear a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of especially multimillionaires and billionaires, all of those, you know, people with money. And it's easy for us to say it's someone that's looking to, you know, they have, you know, maybe a job or just a family to support. And they're like, okay, well, that's easy for you to say. You can do all these different things because you have so much time, but 5 minutes is all. And when you start with 5 minutes, I mean, heck, you could even start with 1 minute, right? 1 minute's better than no minutes. And then when that starts working, you can start to build upon that. So that's powerful. I love that.
It is. And you can take 1 minute during the day, you know, standing in the grocery store, waiting in the line to pick up your kid. As you're fixing dinner, you can take 1 minute to just deep breath. Let your shoulders go.
Yeah.
Untense your body. Breathe it out. And it makes so much of a difference when you do that. You seem to be able to focus once you've released all of that tension and stress, because you could feel it. I mean, even now, everyone's listening, just breathe and let your shoulders just fall. Doesn't that feel so much better?
It does. Yes. It's pretty amazing how we don't realize as we're going throughout our day. You know, I find myself, and I've had a neck injury. I herniated my C6, C7. So that's where I hold my stress, is in my neck area. So I've been very conscious about it. But I didn't realize how much I would hold my shoulders. I'm wearing a black shirt, so you can't see it. But I would catch myself in the middle of the day holding my shoulders like this. And so now it's like a conscious habit to breathe and let go.
Let it go.
So I'm sure we're not the only ones that are realizing that. I'm sure these viewers and listeners are seeing that too. So check that out for yourself. When it comes to really, you know, everything that you're up to, being a single mother, being an entrepreneur, you know, obviously using your calendar and whatnot. I love how you talk about the puzzle, right? And getting unpuzzled. What are some ways, I would love for you to talk about that, that unpuzzling of life, because that's what life really is, right? We have maybe this vision that we see for ourselves, and it's really about trying these different pieces. Oh, no, that doesn't fit there, so let me try this one. And I don't know if that's along your premises, but I would love to hear and love for you to share what that means, unpuzzling.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it is true, right? Because when things are chaotic, when you don't know what to do, when you've lost some hope, when you're feeling dejected, there are all these things that are going on in your mind. Everything you should have done, everything you could have done, everybody's advice, everything that you're reading on social media, and God forbid, everything you've read on WebMD, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these things are floating around in here, and you're trying to figure out, what is the best for me? What is the best thing for my child? And one of the number one things I tell people is kill the noise. Just stop. Stop taking in so much information. And you can look at it as a puzzle piece. Does this fit? Does this fit with the life that I'm trying to live? Does this fit with my truth? And if not, throw that puzzle piece out and grab another piece. Is this true? Is this right? Is this what I need? No, toss that out. Pick another one. Yes, this is true.
What are some examples of that noise?
Oh my gosh. I'm a bad parent. That one goes over and over and over. Oh, I should have did this. I should have known better. You know, mom told me I should do this. This is the way we've always done things. You know, especially in my culture, therapy is not something that we do a lot. And so when you mention going to therapy, whether it's physical therapy, whether it's ABA therapy, whether it's mental health therapy, some of our elders are like, don't tell people what goes on in your house.
Mm.
And so having to fight with that guilt of, I should do this for my kid, I should do this for my family, but I'm disappointing everyone else if I do it. Guilt is a major puzzle piece that floats around in different pieces and in different ways, right? Because it disguises itself.
It
And so
does.
sometimes it may be a corner piece, sometimes it might be a piece in the middle, you know, and as the day go on, you keep hearing these negative voices, negative, 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 negative. And so you have to retrain your brain. When something negative pops up, turn it around, make it positive, or just straight up reject it. I kid around a little bit. There's this song, one of my favorite songs, and it's called Tyrone. And so I call my thoughts Tyrone, and I tell Tyrone to go away, right?
Mm.
When he's in my ear saying things that I don't want to hear, Tyrone, go away.
That's
And the
so
thought, it's
funny.
amazing. Something as simple as that will make the thought go away, and it's no longer there. And I'm
Hmm.
not thinking about it. One of the bad habits I used to have is at night when I'm laying down trying to go to sleep, just replaying my day and what I should have said and what I could have done and all those things. And I would just stay up just playing it over and over and over again. And I
Mm.
had to stop that because it wasn't helping at all. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to forgive yourself. And sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's hourly. You need to take
Yeah,
care of yourself because you're doing the very best that you know how to do. And that was one of my mantras that I had to say, I am doing the very best that I know how,
that
over
is
and over again.
extremely powerful. And I want the listeners and viewers to really hold on to that and understand. And that's not even just for yourself, right? That's for others as well. And when you come to that realization that everyone's doing the best that they can with what they've been given, it's like, it's incredibly liberating, right?
It is. It is. It is. It
Yeah.
allows you to keep doing those things that you know that is best for you. Because ultimately, you need to do what's best for your family, not what's best for the family down the street, not what's best for your mama and your daddy who lives in another state, sometimes not even what's best for your spouse. Sometimes you have to do what is best for your child, because that is the mantle that you were given. Take care of this child.
Mm, yes. I know you mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter how many books you can read or how much research you can have when it comes to raising a child, but I think there is a lot of things that we can learn. I just have a fur baby. I don't have any kids right now. But I think there's a lot that you can learn from parenting and interacting with other humans, right? Because we're all really what we are is we're just big kids is what I've learned. And it's amazing. It's fun, but we forget to have that fun and dance and be energetic. What would you say are some simple things that you see in kids that kids are doing, younger kids, that are super simple that we forget as adults that can radically shift our ways of being, our energy?
Kids are amazing. They are fearless and full of life. I love watching kids play, right?
Mhm.
Um, I love the fact that they will just walk up and be like, hey, do you want to play? And sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes that's all it takes. You're someplace and you see someone who has something in common with you, be like, hey, I just want to introduce myself. I just want to get to know you. I think this is really cool. Even giving them a compliment like, hey, I really like your shirt. Just breaking the ice sometimes. We
Mm.
forget to do that. I'm known for dancing in grocery stores, right? Because they're playing all this music and I'm like, wait a minute, I remember that song. And so even with my kids, we're in the grocery store, we're singing, we're dancing, we're letting loose. Go out outside. There's nothing better. You know, the weather is breaking now. I don't know where you are in the world, but here the
San
weather's
Diego.
breaking. Yeah, the weather's breaking. The sun's coming out. It's beautiful. You know, the days are starting to get longer. Today
Hmm.
was absolutely beautiful. And I spent time outside barefoot in the grass just to reconnect
Mm.
with the beautiful world that's out there. You know, make a mud pie if you want. You know, go play in a sprinkler. Just remember what it was that you enjoyed doing when you were younger. Did you like to draw? Start drawing. Did you like to sing? Start singing. Did you like to create? Start creating. You know, sometimes, look, play video games, like all those things that bring you joy. Start to reincorporate that into your life. Because again, all you need is 5 minutes. 5 minutes
All
of
you
joy makes
need
so
is
much
5 minutes. Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is play,
play.
connect. And I think another one that came to me, you know, one of my favorite parts of one of my favorite movies, Pursuit of Happiness, is when they don't have any place to sleep and they're in a subway and Will Smith says there's dinosaurs and they use their imagination. And that's his way of helping his son feel comfortable. And that's another thing that we forget is using our imagination as adults. And it's something extremely simple that, and even more so with autistic children, that's what they are always imagining, seeing the bigger picture, like incredibly imaginative, if that's a word. I'm looking for the word, but using that imagination. So yes, I love all of it. I would also love for you to talk about you know, being a single mother and also being a single mother of an autistic child. You have put together a scholarship fund, and I just want you to say whatever you like to say about that, because that is amazing and everyone gets to hear about that.
Yeah, so I last year I created a community for single moms that have children with autism, because I wanted safe spaces. And there's a lot of spaces out there, there's a lot of groups out there, but to me, they don't feel safe. They don't feel like you can just go in and ask anything to get the support that you need without being harassed or bullied, or people think that your question is stupid, or why would you
Mm.
do that? You get a lot of that in these communities, but not in my community. It's safe. You can ask questions. We provide resources. You get assigned a coach. There's videos that you can watch. And we're going to be doing some live events too this year, which I'm so excited.
Yes.
One of the things I remember when I was young Tessa, with my son, is that there were so many things that I wanted to do and be a part of, but I needed every penny that
Hmm.
came into my home. So even if something was only $50 a month, $50 meant groceries, or keeping the lights on, or being able to buy him a new pair of shoes because he lost one of them in school. That's a true story. My son came home with one shoe one time. And I was like, what is going on? And so in order to make this available to as many single parents out there, we've gotten rid of the cost. So it's
Hmm.
$0 and 0 cents, but you do have to apply. And so we have a scholarship fund, and this year our goal is to serve 100 single moms who have children with autism or any other intellectual or um, a complex diagnosis. So it doesn't have to be autism. It could be ADHD. It could be cancer. It could be dyslexia. It can be sensory processing disorder. It can be whatever. Whatever it is that your child has, you can come into our community. And so I'm super excited about that. And I would hope that even if you don't know someone, even if it's not you, that you know someone that feel like this is going to be perfect for them, and we'll provide all the information for you so you or someone you know can apply to be a part of this amazing community.
Where can people, if they want to be a part of that community or if they want to donate, where can they find that?
Awesome. So there are two places that you can go. You can go to unpuzzledcommunity.com, or you can go where all of my information is, which is contessalouise.com. So one of those two places you can go to get all of the information, to apply, to share it with someone, or even to donate, because none of this can happen without the donation of people like you.
Yeah. And what a, a gift to give, and what a feeling inside to know what you're giving to, helping single parents, raise a child and get the coaching and all of that. I love it. And speaking of giving, you do have a free gift, and we talked briefly about it. And
You
I
know,
know it's really powerful.
it is, and I was going to give something else as a free gift, but I decided that the free gift I was going to give is me. I'm going to give me, because what else could I give to
Mm,
someone that's like, Tessa, I don't know what to do.
mm,
I don't know where to go. I'm frustrated. I don't know if I can make it another day. So the free gift is a free 30-minute call with me,
mm.
so I can get you back to a place where you can feel like I can go on another day.
They get a full hour of you for free. Not only this interview, picking your brain, hearing more about you, but also half an hour. That is awesome. And again, thank you so much for being on here. Actually, one last thing I do want to talk about that we briefly touched on before, because I'm super jealous of your background. Just share, for those that might not understand, the power of plants. And really, that's another thing we forget. I remember with my grandmother, who taught me, she's a big part of why I'm putting on this summit. She always taught me, keep it simple, stupid. I was talking to one of the speakers today, and she was like, we say in the South, keep it simple, sunshine. I think it was something like that.
Well, that's so
Yeah.
cute. I never heard that.
Or sweetheart. I think it was
Sweetheart,
sweetheart. I
that's
was like,
okay.
that's a little bit better than stupid. But I remember gardening with my grandmother, and what that was like to really interact with plants. And it seems so just like out of the ordinary, but if you could just touch on that a little bit, I would love to hear.
Absolutely. You can see my plants in the background, and I have some more coming, but don't tell anyone. So it's just, this helps with my stress. It gives me so much peace to be surrounded by nature and have living plants throughout my home. Another amazing thing is that when you have fibromyalgia, when you have chronic fatigue, you have problems sleeping.
Mm,
After I put these plants in my room, I didn't have a problem sleeping anymore. I got that deep, restful sleep. And so it's important. I just want to, here, let me pick up one of the smaller ones here. Just something as simple as this can help change your entire atmosphere in your house. And so everywhere I go, there's a plant. And
yeah.
at $3.99, you can have something that's completely can change the air that you spend most of your time in. So get you some plants. I love them. Highly suggest it.
100%. You're beating me right now. I just got that one in the back, so I'm going to start picking it up. Contessa, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. It was awesome and such a pleasure. Where can everyone find you other than your website? Is there anywhere else that you'd like to share? Are you on social media or?
I am on social media everywhere at Contessa Louise. I tell people I'm not hard to find. All you have to do is look.
Perfect. Well, have a great rest of your evening. Thank you again so much. It was a pleasure.